Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics, and welcome back to part 2.5 of my retrospective on Tom King Batman. I call this one 2.5 because it's really not a full part thing. When I set out to do this, I wanted to go back to the beginning where it all began with Tom King's run on Batman, starting at not even issue 1, at the Batman Rebirth number 1. It's kind of funny how DC got 2 number 1s out of their relaunch with all these books. But anyways, and what I decided to do is, with 80 plus issues to cover, is do them trade by trade or story arc by story arc. But I think trade by trade is more accurate because the last trade I did actually had 2 story arcs in it. So I'm doing it that way to try to just minimize this being a million-year long thing. And I wanted to go back, in case you haven't watched the previous 2 videos, a real quick explanation is I wanted to go back from where it all began, because I remember Batman starting off great. I really enjoyed it. And then I just sort of fell off the wagon, and I got behind on my reading. Somewhere before the wedding, the wedding came, and then all of the negativity and all the stuff, it really soured my perception and my idea and just made me not want to read Batman. Not because I personally was like, I'm done reading Batman. It was the world around me put me in a negative mood. Has that ever happened to you? Where you've kind of like let the atmosphere around you affect your mood about something? I see that happen all the time. I observe it in other people, and I definitely observe it in myself. It's both positive and negative. Sometimes there's things where I'm just like, man, I'm not that into it or whatever, but everyone is so enthused about it, and they're constantly like, this is great, this is great. A good example for me is the recent House of X Powers of 10 miniseries that Jonathan Hickman did for X-Men. I was so anti-X-Men, not because I actually do love X-Men, but it's because of my love of X-Men. I was so anti, because I just hated what Marvel had been doing for the past 2 decades, and the most recent 3 or 4 years in particular, really shitting the bed. And I was just adamant. I was like, I'm not getting into this, whatever. And even when it started off a little bit rocky, but everyone was so jazzed and enthused about it. It kept me going. It kept me wanting to see more, and kept me feeling like this could be more than I'm seeing, and wanting to see the good in it. And eventually I did, and it really wowed me. But, then there's the opposite, in other cases. And Batman was one of them. Batman was just where everyone was just so down in the dumps on Batman that I was just like, I just don't have the energy anymore to read it. I've lost all my enthusiasm for the book. All right, so anyways, this particular episode, we're going to talk about The Button. Now, I'm only going to really cover probably the first issue, I'm thinking, because that's the only issue that Tom King wrote. And originally, I wasn't even going to cover this anyway. I didn't cover the second trade paperback, the Night of the Monsters or something like that, Monster Men, I forget the exact title, because that was a crossover between other books. And again, Tom King only had a part in it. He didn't write the whole story. And the point of this retrospective was to track and go over Tom King's beginnings with his Batman story arc through the completion, which he's promised us. We're all going to be wowed and amazed at this great arc that he's had. And I wanted to follow it. Now, I was going to skip this one, too, because he only wrote a part of it. And this book is really good. But in the issue that he wrote, there was something that I thought was important. And I think this particular book itself deserves to be highlighted. If you haven't read Batman, The Flash, The Button, I really urge you to. This is a great book. If you're like, screw Tom King, I'm not into it. Again, he only writes the first issue, and he writes a pretty good first issue. The rest of this is all Josh Williamson, who's been writing bang-up job on The Flash. He currently writes Batman, Superman. He writes the independent book Birthright, which is fantastic over at Image. He's a top-notch writer. And this is the prequel to Doomsday Clock. If you like Doomsday Clock, you can see Jeff Johns' hands behind the scenes, which they give special thanks to. So I'm sure Jeff Johns had some input for sure on this book and what was to come with Doomsday Clock. This is a good prequel, and let's get into the start. I really like one of the things that Jason Fabok did with these covers. He's got multiple, you'll see. So this is a Josh Williamson, Tom King collaboration. Here's all the things. So here we go as a good example. You got the Batman cover, and then he did an alternate B cover with the Flash. And you can see like he kind of redrew some of the, like the background stayed the same. Looks like he just flipped the image. He did probably some tricks with the digital drawing. I don't care. It's just really cool to have that. So we start off, and now I'm going to credit Tom King writes a good book here, but I also need to criticize it. It's a lot of gibberish in the sense that we're getting this voiceover, the announcers of a hockey game. We're down to the final minutes here, folks. Gotham City Arena, Game 7, Western Conference Finals. Tied. Gotham Blades 1, Metropolis Mammoths 1. Safe to say, Blades need the puck coming out of this. Overtime has practically been practically apocalyptic for them this season. Wait. This is the game where they kill him. They're going to kill him. Schuster and Taylor in the face-off. Stop it. I can't stop it. Remember, these two have a history. Stop it. Can't you see? Nothing stop it. Superman won't come. Our friends will die. The Legion will die. No one will stop it. You never know what will happen. Here we go. And we see Batman in the Batcave watching the hockey game, multi-screen, while he watches other things as well. It's kind of interesting. I guess Batman's into sports. I forgot the little thing. No one will save us. Puck goes to Farfanick. 2-on-1 break. Farfanick to Bungay. Back to Farfanick. Farfanick fires wide. Skips along the boards. Taylor unable to clear. Schuster jumping on the loose puck. Look here, and Taylor and Schuster are getting involved. They have a history back to that suspension when Schuster was with the Central City. This is enough. Schuster's coming in hard, throwing left after left. Schuster's one of those guys, but so is Taylor. Just tough guys. Two heavy hitters at center ice. So you can see this is where Tom King really starts with the 9-panel grid. I've heard a lot of people criticize, Tom King for being a wannabe Alan Moore, and there's some truth to that, I think. Especially the more I look into it and analyze it. If I flip back, you can see this structure is very much like Alan Moore's Watchmen. Now, you can forgive it with this book because it's the prequel to Doomsday Clock, which in itself is a sequel to Watchmen. Tom King emulating Alan Moore here is appropriate, right? We want to feel the connection to Watchmen. It should feel like that because Watchmen is being bridged into the DC universe via Doomsday Clock. It all works. But in the retrospective, it's important to kind of point this out. Now, when I said I should criticize Tom King here, we see Batman. He's doing the whole finger dance, coin roll thing with the button while he's watching the hockey game. And you see these two players just beating the crap out of each other. And the one guy, literally beats the other player to death on the ring. Now, this is crazy. Like, this doesn't happen in real life. And so that should be something of note. Batman just sits there and watches it, and he's doing the thing with the button. The whole time, though, all you get is the announcers. Like, you're not actually getting a narrative, I guess, other than 2 pages of Batman watching it happen. This is all mood setting. It's not plot. That's like I was trying to say. Batman eventually clicks off, throws the buttons down, and he looks over, and it's got the Psychopirate mask. Now, this is important. Like I said, I wanted to cover this because it does connect into his storyline. In the I Am Suicide book, which is the part 2, he rescues or abducts, if you will, Psychopirate to basically help fix Gotham Girl, who's problems. And anyways, you could go read those books, watch my video for it. But here we see that the button has some sort of weird reaction to the mask, and it zaps Batman. And then he sees image of his father, Thomas Wayne, the Flashpoint Batman. Bruce? Father? Father. Flash. The bloody button we found on the cave after Wally appeared. I was looking over it again, and it had some sort of reaction to Psychopirate's mask. Oh, Bruce, hey, so I'm kind of in the middle of something in the kind of a Samuroid invasion thing. Sorry, can this wait? The radiation we found in the button seems to have spiked. It appeared as if it ripped a hole in the Speed Force. I saw there was something wrong at the bottom of the hole. Okay, well, there's still 37 of these things coming. Should take me, I don't know, how about I meet you in the cave in 1 minute? All right. You said a minute. Of all people, Flash. Didn't you expect to be early? Oh, sorry. God, I can't read. You said of all people, Flash, I didn't expect you to be early. Flash? No. So, I get so caught up sometimes in thinking about what I'm going to talk about, it's hard to read the panels. But, so, here's a crack sound. Flash shows up, but it's not actually Flash. It's Reverse Flash. And plays a joke on Flash is always late. That's kind of funny. And then first Reverse Flash just cold clocks Batman. You get a nice 2-page spread. And you're going to see down the lower right corner, we get this little countdown timer. Because Batman's 1 minute until, Flash gets here. My name is Eobard Thawne. I have been dead for some time. I should be dead for some time more. But a power, it woke me. It called out for me. And I am resurrected. Batman lunges for him. Can't get hold of him because Reverse Flash can make himself intangible. Oh, did you want to fight more? And just bam, 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 just beats the crap out of him. And I like these, again, using the 9-panel grid, but check out the timestamps. It doesn't 47 seconds, 47 seconds, 47. And just, it gives you that sense of how much is happening. It's in slow motion because it's actually happening in super speed. So that's pretty cool. 44 seconds. Still alive? 42 seconds. How fun. 41 seconds. Zips away. 40 seconds. Flies back at him, smashing him into the, something in the Batcave. He sees a note that Thomas wrote his son. Oh, Thomas, is this what you did after you killed me? Before you died with your world, 36 seconds. A message sent across time. A letter to your dead son. So Batman, of course, this is something meaningful to him. Reverse Flash just shreds it. And Batman's like, no! Oh, yes. Get out of my cave. Oh, what are you going to do, baby bat? Remember, when I blur, no one can touch me. Yeah, that's right. But you know what else is also right? When you blur, you can't stand steady unless something solid is touching the ground. What? Stabs a batarang through his foot, and then Batman just lets into him. Then Reverse Flash does a little sonic smack of the hand, sends Bat flying, pulls his foot through the batarang. Ow. Batman. I love how tough this is. This is Batman the way he's supposed to be. No flinching. He's got the shit kicked out of him. Get out of my cave. You have to know you can't win. I know, but I don't need to win. I just need 11 seconds. See what's going on here? And I got to this page and I was like, yes. This is God, one of my favorite movies is Rocky. Remember the original Rocky? Such a good movie. Not because Rocky wins. Spoiler alert, Rocky doesn't win. Rocky goes the distance. And here's Batman. He doesn't need to win. And, one of the tropes of Batman is that he always wins, but it doesn't need to be that way. And here Tom King doesn't rely on that. Batman just needs to go the distance. Can he do that? Of course. He's Batman. So at 10 seconds, they're fighting, and you get some really good just visual imagery. Tom King's not relying. Look at this. Not a word balloon to be seen on one page. And you just see the timer kicking down to 2 seconds. Finally, Batman says 1. And then he looks, overtime. Reverse Flash cocks him cold. Pathetic. Walks over to the button. Now, what is this mystery of you? And then bzzz, gets teleported away, or something happens. He disappears, and Batman's just lying on the ground, bleeding out. And this was interesting. I really love this because I was reading this, and I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, got down. Flash is going to show up. Batman held out. He went the distance. And then he realized, oh, shit, he's not here. Overtime. But Flash doesn't show up. And again, because why? Flash is always late. So Flash appears. Sorry, Reverse Flash reappears. And he's like, God, I saw God. And collapses. Meanwhile, we see the cave silent. And then, Krzak! Hey, Bruce, sorry, stopped at the Blades game to see if I could save Taylor. But I guess he died on the ice from that last blow. I was just too late. And we get this great final page of Barry Allen showing up, of course, late, like he usually is, and could have saved Batman, potentially could have saved Yellow Flash, whatever happened to him. And it's a solid story. That's like a good, solid comp. Great art by Justin Fabok. Great setup to this whole Button storyline. And then we get, again, some of these dual covers again. Now, the rest of the book is done by Howard Porter, who is the artist on Flash. Currently, he did the Flash Year 1. And it's very obvious how much Joshua Williamson's writing is different than Tom King. Tom King's writing and Joshua Williamson's are just vastly different. So it was really kind of shocking to go from that Batman book to the Flash book and the way Josh Williamson's style is. And so that was kind of a negative for me. The art also, while I'm okay with Howard Porter, I like Fabok better, especially for a Watchmen-esque storyline. And I kind of missed it. I kind of missed when I went back to a more traditional, modern-style comic book paneling and layouts. I kind of missed the wannabe Watchmen, wannabe Alan Moore. Look, here's another dual cover shot. This is a really good way to use alt covers. I don't really support the alt covers, but I just think that's neat. Thomas Wayne staring over his family dead, a Reverse Flash staring over the Barry Allen. He murdered his mother. Just you get this really great story of Batman and Flash going through the timeline and revisiting Flashpoint that shouldn't exist. It should have been erased, but something's holding it together. Again, this is the connective tissue to the Doomsday Clock. It's setting up this bigger storyline. And if you haven't, like I said, if you like Doomsday Clock, and who doesn't, it's great. I recommend that you read this first if you haven't. If you did read this back when it came out, man, Doomsday Clock has been going on for so long now that I recommend, reading it again to kind of refresh your mind. So, do we have the credits here? Yeah, I see Josh Williamson, Howard Porter. There was one of these that Tom King co-wrote, but I think it's one of the Batman issues. Tom King co-writes, and where is it? We get the variant covers. but the whole time, like I said, Williamson does the script. So even though it's like Tom King just kind of helped input some of the plot. Again, this is not a good. Actually, there's something I need to find. Bear with me here. There was one thing I wanted to point out. Like the whole point of doing this is, here's a scene here where he's dealing with his father. They're trying to get away from the timeline. Things are ripping up. And where is it? All right, here it is. This is a scene where he's with his father. They have to go. Batman's like, please, you come with us. We go. And his father tells him, I made all the right choices because they led to you. He says, you're the greatest gift this life gave me. And there was more that I should have shared in that letter. So listen to me. Don't be Batman. Find happiness, please. You don't have to do this. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for your mother. Be a father for your son in a way that I could never be for you. Let the Batman die with me. We can save you. And then they're gone. And Thomas Wayne says, you have. Then one thing I hate about Comixology is it doesn't let you turn pages very fast. There's a scene here, fast forward, where they're back in the future and it's the end of the storyline, and they're pondering over what's going on, and it's like, I don't know, Barry. It can't all be an accident. We see Batman looking out over the city, or Bruce Wayne, and he's recalling what his dad said. Don't be Batman. Find happiness. You don't have to do this for me. Don't do it for your mother. Let the Batman die with me. And you can see the bat signals up, and he's just staring out the window, and Alfred's, sir, are you going to answer that? And he just stares and then looks down. And this, I believe, is the beginning of the end. This is why it was so important for me to cover this issue. Because even though it's really kind of focusing on the Doomsday Clock here, Tom King is letting slip his ideas for his stories and what he believes in the Batman and everything. And this idea that Batman needs to be happy. And this is it's kind of a bullshit thing for me. I argue this with other fans all the time. Batman is not unhappy being Batman. Batman, first of all, is a multi-billionaire, okay? And he does this. He could stop anytime he wants. he could live the high life and just party on yachts and do all the stuff. One of the tropes of Batman is that Bruce Wayne is the mask, right? You see them when he goes to parties and he's living this high life like the rich dilettante and everything. He's not happy doing that. That doesn't make him happy. What makes him happy is being Batman, helping people, being a savior, doing the right things. This is his lifelong passion. This is a man who has everything, so to speak. Yes, his parents died, and that's tragic. It's formative of who he is as a character. But millions of people have their parents die. In fact, every single one of us have parents who will die. Now, whether they die in our lifetime or whether we knew them or not, I mean, those are all different things. It's tragic, but this happened 20, 30 years ago in Batman's past, right? It's not like he's still just traumatized by the event. It happened during his formative years, so it definitely did mold him as a being, but he doesn't run around doing what he's doing because he's still just morose about it. Like, he just can't get over, oh my God, my parents are dead, I'm so depressed, so I'm just going to take it out on thugs on the street. No, that's not what Batman does. People need help. He can make a difference, and he does. He's no different in that sense than like a firefighter, right? You remember some of my favorite hero stories are from 9/11, the stories of the firefighters charging up the buildings, the Twin Towers into the fires, knowing that this could be their life. They had people that had to be saved. These were not men who were unhappy. These were men who were fulfilled. These were alpha men. Bruce Wayne is an alpha male. And one of the most frustrating things that I think that fans like myself have with Tom King and what he's doing is that Tom King fundamentally does not seem to understand this. Tom King, for some reason, thinks a man like Bruce Wayne would be unhappy. And I believe, this is my personal take, that it's because Tom King is unhappy and he's projecting himself into the pages of this book. No, Batman is a man doing man's work, God's work. It's his life's work. Is it hard? Does he feel pain? Of course, but he is a man who is fulfilled to this very bone, like to his very soul, I guess is what I should say. This is not an unhappy man. Maybe he's a little lonely at times, sure. But here I can say, this is where we're going to see the beginning of the downfall of Batman as a character, and where Tom King is going to go completely off the rails going forward. So I'm going to stop here. This is for one issue. I talked a lot already. Tell me what your thoughts are so far. If you're enjoying this retrospective, it's kind of cool for me. I like to go back and talk about it and see what I think, what went wrong, what went good. Is it really as bad as we all think? Because so far the issues have all been great. This is all still good comics, great comics. I would love for Batman to be what we are so far. But is it going to stay this good? I think you guys already know the answer. And we'll get to how it all becomes there. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.